And good evening, good afternoon, good morning to wherever you're watching from all over the Philippines and from all over the world. And welcome to my podcast, the RJ Ledesma podcast. It's almost December, ladies and gentlemen. So let me be the first to greet all of you and to all those listening to the RJ Ledesma podcast. Merry Christmas again. All you guys have been such a great gift to all of me, to all those who've been listening to the podcast. At the same time, I do wish that everything you've learned from all the different resource persons, all the different speakers, all the different entrepreneurs that have been here on this program. I hope they've also been gifts to all of you in terms of improving and sharpening your entrepreneurial and business skills. Again, here on the RJ Ledesma podcast, I interview the country's pioneering business personalities and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about business, what are their success secrets, how have they innovated their businesses during this pandemic? And more importantly, what opportunities do they see emerging in the new normal and in the next normal? Now, is there a business personality or an entrepreneur that you would like me to interview here on the podcast? Please let me know. I would love to have them here. I would love to learn from them. Just drop me a message. We are also live right now on Kumu, CBRC TV, Global Pinas TV, and of course the Bounce Back Network. Tonight, I'm very happy to finally have this guest over here. You know why? Because I recall the first time that I heard about his company was actually from his dad, who is an Ayala land stalwart. His name is June Bisnar, the name of his dad. And his dad actually invited me when they planned to launch the startup many years ago. So I was there actually technically at the founding of the startup. And I've had a chance to monitor their growth slowly. In fact, I've actually guested tonight's guest on my show called Bright Ideas, which comes out on One News. And right now, they've got such a great announcement that they had a couple of weeks ago. And that's why I wanted to bring him here on the show. They've achieved so much in such a short period of time. And I'm so proud to have him here on the show. I have here tonight JC Bisnar, the CEO and co-founder of what was formerly Investagrams and now is called Investa. Now, fueled by their passion to teach Filipinos about investing in the stock market, Investa launched its first investment platform. Now, for as low as 1,000 pesos, you can now invest in some of the best performing local and foreign mutual funds. Wow. How did they grow their initiatives from simply developing trading tools and teaching Filipinos how to trade to eventually launching their own investment platform? What a milestone. What are Investagram's plans for its app in the next year and in the following years. Let's hear it from the man himself. Please welcome on my show, JC Bisnar of Investa. JC, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sir RJ. Thank you so much for the invite. It's an honor to be here in your show.
Oh,
Napakaganda ng mga content na nilalabas nyo. So, thank you so much for having me here.
matagal na kitang nililikawan dito, Jason, to come on the show. I know you're also a busy guy, but you know what? I really love that you're here because there's so much people can learn from you, not just about the stock market, but also about how to have grit and how to have resilience as an entrepreneur, and more importantly, how to have integrity as an entrepreneur. And later on, I hope that you can bring up again the story of when you had investors coming in, and how you really said, what, I want to get people of integrity to invest with me or to be part of the company. And you actually denied some people, right, to be part of the company because on a value, on not having the same shared or common values that you have for Investa, right? But
Yeah.
before that, no, let's talk about the bigger story of Investa. Right now, Investa is a trading platform. So why is this such a big deal, and why is such big news for you guys?
Yeah, so it's the first time. So we've been a startup. We've been providing tools and education for the last 5+ years. And then after a long while, we finally launched our first investment platform. So the mutual fund platform of Investa. So it's now in CBT. We're in a testing phase, and then we're slowly releasing it to the public. So it's a big deal because for us, we started with the mutual fund platform because that's the easiest way for regular Filipinos to come in and actually invest their money. So it's the next step when you already have savings. So all of us have savings. Nasa kultura ng Pilipino na mag-ipon ng pera, magtago ng mga nireregalo ng relatives natin. And the next step is how do you make it work? So even if you're not yet knowledgeable or you don't have too much time to monitor the markets and your investments, the mutual fund is the perfect answer to that. So that's our starting point as an investment platform.
And that's great, particularly from the consumer standpoint of people who
Mhm.
want to invest. And the idea of 1,000 pesos alone, that's I find that quite innovative because now people can access you online. Now, I like that
Mhm.
one. But for me, if you don't mind, the bigger story is the behind the scenes story, the fact that you are doing this trading platform. I mean, that is, for me, that's the milestone. I mean,
Mm.
how can it make people appreciate just how much effort went into becoming somebody who just had to do, was giving, uh, technically what you were doing before, which was, and you'll discuss it later on, people would get advice on your platform to becoming an
Mhm.
actual investment platform.
Yeah.
How big a deal was that?
Yeah, it's really a big deal because just to tell you the story of that, our first aspirations was to be a stock brokerage, a stock market platform, yung actual trading where you do it directly. But then it wasn't easy. If you're a startup here in the Philippines and you have no strong backers or solid connections, ang usual tingin sa'yo is who are you? Parang ganun.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a really long, gritty process for nobody to come into the licensed territory. So when we planned to be a stockbroker, hindi siya ganun kadali. So we encountered several challenges on that. And then what we saw was the mutual fund platform. Why not start with that? Kasi it
Okay. So
has
parang yun parang naging pivot mo, no? I mean, the
yes.
initial, I mean, that's the first thing I want to point out. The initial goal was, okay, uh,
Mhm.
I want to be a stock market brokerage. I mean, yan muna. And then you started seeing that, okay, we can't
Mhm.
get there directly, but that's a pain point. But there was also an opportunity which emerged, right?
Yes.
Please, then I want you to see how did you spot that opportunity versus just being so single-minded about going for the stocks as a stock market
Yeah.
brokerage.
Yeah, so yun talaga yung dream to be a stock brokerage. That would be so cool if we've done that. But then when we encountered our first rejection, uh, we instantly analyzed ano na yung mga next steps. What are the other alternatives? So if there's a big wall, how do you go around the wall? If we were just kids being treated as kids in the investment industry since startup talaga fresh from scratch, sino ba tong mga batang to, di ba? So for
Oo.
regulators to take us seriously, sino ba tong mga batang to? We had to start to prove ourselves at a certain endeavor. So we saw na yung mutual fund platform, hey, we can start with this. The requirements are very clear And the platform, if kaya namin gumawa ng trading platform na live, we could easily do a mutual fund platform that is not real time. Madali lang yung mutual fund platform for us compared to what we did. But it's not when we found that path, this was in 2018. So this was not instant. That was I remember our talk, Sir RJ, di ba? Matagal na
Yeah,
natin
yeah.
gusto mag-partner and sorry talaga kung matagal, but that's the reality of being a licensed institution, investment institution. Napaka rigorous ng proseso, waiting time. So even if you have the components, maraming back and forth talaga. So from conceptualization and incorporation, it took us 2 years to finally get our license in the mutual fund app. And yun, here we are today. Finally, naitawid na rin. And we're really looking forward to serve millions of Filipinos. Ito yung starting point.
Yeah, and that's not the only big news. It's the other big news are the people who you've signed up, or rather have signed up with you. Because I mean, the way that you're thinking about it, it's like I'm Investa, but look at the people who are working with me. Because I mean that must, for me, it's almost like a dream come true if you think about it. The partners that you brought on board.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about that, JC.
Yeah, so with that, ayun, just to add context to it, no bakit yung mutual fund platform. So if we're able to prove na we can serve Filipino investors in a platform that is transparent, secure, and with all the partners na legit. So right now we've partnered with BPI, Sun Life, and Phil Equity. So these are some of the top funds, and we're looking to onboard more. So we've partnered with the biggest players in the mutual fund industry. So ito na yung mga fund managers na pinaka-credible na humahawak ng mga pera ng mga tao. So they're working with us, and it's really an honor. Tama ka, sir. If you look back from being treated as nobodies, we're really,
I know, diba? Parang wow.
yeah. So we're really honored na they considered us, and they appreciate the value that we brought to the table na, hey, we can work together to actually grow Filipinos' wealth over time.
That's the idea, diba? It's like it's the potential to scale, which is key, diba? I mean, that's the same thing. We're still reapplying the startup mentality. We're just finding different ways to reapply the startup mentality on how to scale. I mean, kumbaga, there's many ways to skin a cat. There's many ways to scale a company, and this is just another way that we found. And it's I don't know how you think about it. I think of it parang it's just as legitimate. We just didn't think about it at the start that way. Parang it wasn't our original route, but hey, this isn't bad either, right? Is that how you think about it?
Yes, it's yun, like we always mention in our announcements or pages, this is just our starting point. So it doesn't mean we became a mutual fund platform, yun na yung hantungan. That's the end of us. So it's just a stepping stone for us. And moving forward, we're gonna continue na on our path. Kung ano yung mga investments na magpapayaman sa Pilipino, we're gonna bring that to the Filipino people.
It often reminds me of an example which I give when I give my entrepreneurial talks. In one of the ways to success, about WAZE, just like the app. I mean, there's not one way to success. There can be different directions. It will give you different directions. Pero pareho pa rin yung patutunguhan ninyo. But it says, but if you go this way, hey, this is not so bad either, diba?
Yeah.
But it still brings you to where you want to go. And aside from that one, diba, you're working with establishments here which are very not it's so redundant to say established institutions, no, but these are people who are well known or well reputed in the industry. But on top of that one is the 1,000 pesos which they have to invest. I mean, that in itself is an innovation because many Filipinos don't have access to mutual funds. Tell us a bit more about how you came across towards that innovation in investing in mutual funds.
Yeah. So actually, it didn't start with us. So I think yung mandate ng mga funds natin ngayon, yung mga mutual fund provider, nire-request na talaga nila na i-lower yung investment amount. So because they have pitched to the SEC or to the regulators na let's lower the investment amount for these mutual funds. Ayun, we can adapt that to our technology. But yeah, moving forward, yun yung pangarap na to make it easier and easier for Filipinos to invest, and we'll continue to work on that.
Okay. Having said that, I just want to go to the comments box right now. Dario Tangub saying over here, wow, congrats, Sir JC. Really great achievement that you guys have had here so far. Now, stepping back again, I mean, there's some people here who are heavily into the stock market. There are people here who aren't into the stock market looking into it right now or are not doing mutual funds here right now. So how exactly does it work for them, JC? So they're looking at, okay, so JC is saying that for as low as 1,000 pesos, does that mean every month I can invest in a mutual fund? Can
Mhm.
you please maybe elaborate on the mechanics of how you actually go about it? How can the regular Filipino go about it? And what makes it easier that you are doing it online versus, let's say,
Mhm.
I guess, doing it offline?
Mhm.
So run me through the process on why Investa makes it a bit more efficient and innovative.
Yeah, so the concept of mutual funds is basically you're giving in your money in a pooled funds by these big companies, yung mga banko or other institutions. And then within those companies may mga fund manager na sila. So basically, you're giving your money to the professionals and then they will manage it for you. And you can choose different kinds of funds depending on your risk profile. So merong mga equity funds na nag-iinvest sa stock market. Ito yung mga kumpanya kagaya nila Jollibee, Meralco, Ayala. Meron ding mga money market funds. Ito yung nag invest sa mga fixed yielding assets or mga bonds or mga utang na fix yung result. So mas low risk siya pero yung gains mo sakto lang, maliit lang rin. So there's those options and there are also global funds na these funds are in the Philippines but then when you pool money to them, they will invest globally for you. So these are the main categories na significant. So from there, the usual process dati, you have to go to the bank to register, fill up a form, mga paperwork. So every one
Mhm.
of us loves paperwork, 'di ba? Tapos yeah, 'di ba? Parang pipila ka na tapos susulat ka. Oh, mamali ka lang ng isa, uulitin mo ulit. Sayang yung mga puno, sayang yung papeles. So um before parang it just recently started where platforms started to offer online investments and mutual funds, and then we finally came into the picture, Investa. And then now if you look at it, among all the online mutual fund platforms, we're going to have the most offerings, or at least up to par with the most offerings, most available number of funds. And then what we can assure you is bilang investors then and traders na nagsimula from zero, alam namin, we know the experience and the needs of Filipinos na ano ba yung kailangan ko para maintindihan to? Ano ba yung mga tools na kailangan ko para magawa yung best decision ko? So we've put that into the thought process na you'll see how
Ah,
we placed our heart into the design of the product. So that's our core mandate in Investa. When you build something, when you create something, lagyan mo ng puso. And you will see that that strikes as our main difference in the fintech industry or the investments industry.
so that's technically the value added of them doing it
Mm.
through Invest. Because my what I was wondering earlier was say, okay, why would I choose to put it Investa when I can go straight to the mutual fund itself,
Mm.
right? Is it because the clients that you have are not people who have the skill set or the network or the knowledge to go straight to the mutual fund?
Mm.
What's the benefit of them going it through you? Is it also because they can do it what I call sachet style investment, right? I mean that's how I
Mm.
would put it, because of the 1,000 peso
Mm.
barrier to, I mean, that's barrier to entry, diba? It's just very small to get to come on board.
Yeah. So one thing is first is the easiness of application. So yung paperwork or yung KYC, yung onboarding process fully ginawa na namin digital. So dito you'll be able to compare na we have an easier onboarding process than most
Okay.
platforms. And then in the platform itself, we added more information and tools that will help you be guided on your decision. And we make it I have to parang you have to see the app for yourselves, but we make it a more fun investing experience as a whole. So yun, accessibility, and then the comprehensiveness of the data and information available in the platform.
And how often can they invest that 1,000 pesos? Can they invest every month, every day? They can just keep on adding to their mutual fund?
Yeah. Nasa sayo naman. You can top up every day if you have money flow. But then the suggested usually approach in mutual funds is people invest as part of their monthly salaries, or kada 15th yan, pwede ka maghulog diyan. So part of your salary, yung savings allocation mo, or kung ano yung risk on investment allocation mo, you can treat the mutual fund account as your alternative savings account.
Got that. Now, for those who haven't had the benefit of using Investa just yet and are interested in going through the Investa trading investment platform. JC, just give them a few details, especially we come out live video wise, but you also have this on in our audio format for our podcasts. Where can they visit to actually go to the whole Investa experience if they want to invest?
Yeah. So we haven't launched publicly yet. So I'm gonna type the pre-sign up page. So
Okay,
investagrams.com/investa. So in the next
okay,
few weeks, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, we'll be releasing more public access. So dinadahan-dahan namin. So we can perfect the operations as well and make sure that everything is smooth once we go full on.
great. Again, so it's on the screen right now. But for those listening to us on the podcast, that's www.investagrams.com/investa. You want to get into the platform here right now. Now, just a couple of things. I want to go back to the comments box again, and I like the comment of Donald Soric saying, "I like the Investa's vision and mission. Sana may encourage lahat ng mga Filipinos na mag-invest at hindi lang mag-save." Thanks so much, Don, for sharing this one. And I think this is a great segue into really better understanding how Investa came about, and it's a really great story. And I want to talk about the entrepreneurial journey of JC because hindi naman siya school bukol, no? But I mean, he really learned. It wasn't this is not all school learning. There's really street smarts and a desire to learn more about how to invest in the stock market. But before everything else, people might be wondering right now. Okay, there's Investagrams and there's Investa. Did you rename the company? Is it like Meta and Facebook? What is it? Can you please explain to us what's Investagrams and what's Investa?
Yeah, so yes, we rebranded in the last year. So what we're planning to do, yung dating Investagrams, people know us for Investagrams. That will be our social network and tools, analytic tools platform. So yan si Investagrams. That would be the social plus the tools. And then yung Investa, yun na yung name ng mother company as a whole. Then that will be our mothership app na rin wherein dito papasok yung mga investments.
I see.
Mm.
Now, I want to step back again here right now, and as I often say in the show, if I have to explain this to my dad, who's a business guy, who's an entrepreneur,
Mm.
but not too, digital marketing or digitally savvy, how would I explain to him exactly what does Investa or Investagrams do? I mean, what exactly is it if he goes there?
Yeah, so Investagrams, nandito yung kung gusto mo matuto ng stock market, nakalatag na dito lahat ng learning. Tapos pwede mo bantayan at ma-practice yung sarili mo sa stock trading, investing. Yung Investa app naman, ito na yung way para sabihin mo kay Pops, Pops, ito yung easy way to invest. 1,000 pesos lang in just 3 minutes. Pwede mo nang ma-sign up yung form tapos pag approve ka na, yun na. Makaka-invest ka na online.
Okay, I get that so far. Now, I think the bigger question people are saying right now, wow, so you've got Investagrams, which is the sort of like the tools platform, right? The stock market tools platform to help you to develop the skill set to become a good stock market investor, right? And Investa is the actual platform for investment. My question lang is that, people might be wondering here right now, so many people I feature here on the show, especially pag startup sila, is they have outside investors, whether it's angel investors or Series A investors,
Mhm.
Different levels of investors. What's the case here right now? Is Investa or Investagrams a company that has investors, or have you been bootstrapping? And what I mean by bootstrapping, for those who are encountering this term for the first time, bootstrapping means uh, yung sarili mong savings, yung galing sa passbook mo yung pera or from other projects that you've been doing, is the money that you've been using to grow the company. What's the current state as you went into Investagrams and Investa?
Yeah. So ever since yung mandate namin sa Investa, talagang every cent we try to utilize it creatively. So as a matter of fact, kaming tatlong founders, we have never gotten a salary sa company. As in dinededicate
Hanggang
na.
ngayon?
Yes, up to now, not a single cent. So, we've been lucky though kasi we started as stock market traders. Ako stockbroker ako. So siguro yun yung ginawa sa amin ng universe na okay, may skills kayo dito, ngayon gamitin nyo sa mabuting paraan. Kaya full on dedication sa co-founders ko na ever since wala kaming salary tinik. So that helped us utilize every funds na when we started, wala kaming pera, wala kaming employee. Nag-seminars kami. So, kunyari, example, 2,000 per head or 5,000 per head. Tuturo kami ng mga advanced strategies. So, we raised our first 500,000 pesos through a seminar. And then we utilized that 500,000 pesos to hire our first few employees, first designer, first developer, and then it grew from there. Ngayong may designer and developer na kami, nag-isip na kami, how do we make karamihan ng services ng Investagrams ay libre. But then we were already thinking, how do we add on yung mga premium features na mas advanced, mas powerful para may revenue generation na rin. So it's really a balance of that. We were balancing how to grow, how to serve the people na libre, accessible, but also how to take care and defend the company to make sure it survives. And then, speaking of, we didn't raise any venture capital or angel capital. So we haven't sold any equity, any shares of the company. So lahat ito ay internal, nasa founding team pa, and then we're allocating some to our we are allocating a part to our employees, mga teammates na tumulong sa amin ever since, and yung mga ngayon nag-hard work. So ganun. We have raised convertible notes before. So ito yung parang form na utang siya, but then may right to convert at a discount in the future. But then we dictated our own terms on this. So when we approach yung fundraising terms, since we were revenue positive, net positive as a startup, we're not the usual startup na running on a 6-month runway na mamamatay na pag hindi maka-raise ng funds. So we had more leeway to create scenarios na, okay, we being finance people, how do we make sure na if we do raise funds, if we do get investors, we get the right strategic partners or strategic investors, and also investors that will fully support the mission. Because I've seen tons of stories wherein kakainin ka ng investor, tapos they will push you to grow or to focus on profits, naku-compromise na yung mission mo. So we're really designing Investa na dapat from day 1 up to day 100, we're full sincerity on the mission, and all the stakeholders should be on with us in that path.
Wow. So right now, the only outside investors, if you have any, are those with the convertible notes.
Yes. So we have a few convertible note investors. Yan.
Very interesting. Let me just go back to the comment box. Very interesting. People are saying, from Jeff Munsayak, saying, bringing the investment platform to ordinary Filipinos, #changing lives. Thanks so much. And this is very interesting kay Marco Polo. Sabi niya, sir, gawa kayo ng Investa chain and tokens. What can you say to that? What can you say to that comment over there, JC?
Maraming possibility. Ang tanong na lang is, legal ba yan sa Pilipinas? Basta maraming pwede gawing innovation eh. Pero lalo na kung regulated investment platform ka na, kagaya natin sa Investa ngayon, iba yung scope ng rules. So while there are those innovations na posible, we have to always make sure na is it bound within the proper legal framework. So that's something to consider.
Got that. Now, we unpacked so much about how you put it the company, how it continues to run, how you what's the business model for it, and I want to unpack a bit more of that as we tell your entrepreneurial story. Having said that, I want to go back a bit more, and then JC, I want to look at the secret origin of putting up Investa. I often say over here that the story is something about what pain point were you trying to solve when you put up Investa? But let's even take it a bit way more back. No, I know that I've seen several forums. I've seen your stories on Facebook posts of really how you came about with Investa, and tell us a bit more about your journey. I know it's very interesting.
Okay. Okay, where do I start? Okay, so yung passion ko sa stock market, it started sige, I'll just tell an interesting story about myself first. So
Sure,
college hindi ako sobrang honor student, so above average lang. But then I spent a lot of my time playing video games to the point na pangarap ko yun nung bata ako, gusto ko maging champion na gamer. Pag bata ka, papagalitan ka ng magulang mo na, uy, bawal magpuyat. Pero pag college ka na, pwede ka na mag-cutting classes. Wag niyo akong tularan. So, dinedicate ko yung sarili ko dun sa isang online game. Tapos nag-champion kami dun sa Level Up Live. So we won 100,000 pesos, ganyan. So may nakuha kami mga cash value. And then after me achieving my childhood dream, na naisip ko na what's more in life? Ano pa bang may say na gawin? Because I can't keep on playing games na dito ko lang dedicate sarili ko, no? So then I got an internship in one of the foreign brokers in the Philippines. So dun ko natutunan yung stock market. At first, halos maihi ako sa sobrang hirap. Parang kala ko, shit, ang daming numero, nakakatakot to, ang komplikado. But then in 1 to 2 weeks, I was able to learn the ropes of the market. And then this came yung pain point. Ito yung realization. We were serving there the top fund managers, hedge funds sa abroad, mga government funds, mga bigatin na tao at entities. They were trading hundreds of millions to billions. So back then, 2012 onwards, yung Pilipinas was in a strong bull market. So malakas yung ekonomiya, malakas yung mga merkado natin. So tumataas lahat ng investment. But then I realized, we were only serving the big boys. Paano kaya, and when I saw the statistic, less than 1% lang daw ng Pilipino, yung mga regular na Pilipino yung nag-i-invest. So that alarmed me because while most of the people in the institutional side of the business was making tons of money, and I was in the brokerage firm na okay, parang mukhang cool kami kasi mayayaman yung mga kliyente, malaki yung mga sahod sa industriya. But then for regular Filipinos, they were not enjoying the fruits of the stock market. Hindi nila nasasakyan yung growth ng ekonomiya. So that's the first pain point for me na, okay, I like this thing. The stock market is the biggest game in the world and I want to teach it to my fellow people, my fellow Filipinos. So, nag-start ako mag-talk sa mga random colleges just for free, for fun. Tapos,
can I just ask, JC, can I just ask, I mean, where did you get that, there are people in the stock market who could be doing stock market forever, right? Because they're making money, they're okay. But what made you think na there should be, it's more than that one? Because, coming from, I hope you don't mind, I met your dad, I can see that, he's doing work with Ayala Land, but it seems to be more than work. Like, he was a military guy, right? Previously, before that one. And, that it's more than just the work, diba? Para there's a certain elevation to it, diba? I'm doing more than just this one. I'm helping the country. Was that something that you also, I guess, picked up from him, or was that something from you? Well, what do you think it was like? Why is it different for you?
Yeah. Besides sa influence ng parents ko, syempre maganda yung disiplina at naturo nila sa akin. I read about the book nung college ako, bago pa ma-discover yung stock market. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But then, I'm looking at the top billionaire lists sa Pilipinas, sa mundo, and you will see na unti lang sa kanila yung parang yung bulk of their efforts or net worth they're really utilizing for social impact. Yung mga bagay na nakakabuti sa mga tao. So why am I saying that? Because I reflected, what if you got all the money in the world and the next day you die? Parang yun na ba yung meaning ng buhay na chase mo lang yung negosyo, chase mo lang yung pera? So why do I talk about this philosophy? Dito ko na-decide when I was doing my thesis na I should create a thesis na hindi yung corporate lang, hindi yung negosyo lang. So I found the topic na social entrepreneurship. So doon ko naaral yung mga libro gagaya nila Muhammad Yunus, yung gumawa yung Grameen Bank ba yun? Grameen Bank.
Grameen Bank, yeah.
Yes. So yun, pwede palang maging financial institution na ini-empower mo yung mga nangangailangan. Hindi lang pala yung mayayaman yung pwedeng kliyente ng bangko, yung mga ganong concept. So, for some reason, baka bumabawi lang rin ako. Nung bata ako, makulit ako, pasaway ako. So gusto ko i-dedicate sarili ko sa bagay na, parang, kung mananalo ka na nga lang rin, manalo ka naman sa bagay na may saysay. Yun yung naisip ko nun. Parang na-visualize ko, kung magiging top billionaire ako, top businessman, ayoko na parang negosyo lang for myself, for my own. Gusto ko yung may nagawa akong bagay na madadala ko rin yung mga kailangan ng tulong. That was my mentality. Even before the stock market, that was in college.
Wow. Okay, so I love that story over here. I want to just say over here, I want to read again here, Jomar Aquino from the comments, slowly but surely, referring to how you built the company, and then and the others I'll read later on for so you can comment on them better, no? But going back to your story again, so you started giving a lot of you were saying after this, did you leave the stock brokerage market and start giving talks, or were you doing that simultaneously?
Simultaneous yan. Teka lang, 2013. I think, tama. Yung ibang talks, I started giving talks nasa brokerage pa ako niyan. Tapos I slowly got out of it nung parang nakaka full-time trading na ako and nag-decide ng magseryoso sa Investagram. So, ayun, the reason I mentioned those college talks, so kala ko ginagawa ko lang siya for fun, just to share my passion of the stock market to fellow young people. And then dun ko nakilala yung mga co-founders ko, si Erwin and si JM. And then Erwin was our CTO. Meron na siyang dinidevelop na na base version ni Investagrams. Tapos ako rin, may mga kagrupo rin ako na gusto rin talaga namin gumawa na going digital yung learning, yung access sa stock market. And then we merge into the ideas, and then that's how I met my co-founders on those random talks. And just by wanting to help out other young people, dun ko nakilala, parang nagka-connect kami.
I have a question, related to getting co-founders.
Yeah.
Like I've had the chance to work with co-founders in the past. Some co-founders you get along with, some co-founders you might not get along with too well, right? And it doesn't work out. For people listening here right now, what would be a bit of your advice when getting co-founders? How do you know that they're in with you for the long haul or not for the long haul? What would be your advice?
I think yung first when looking at business partners or co-founders, yung first issue dyan is yung ano ba yung need ng mga partners mo sa pera? Ano yung motivation or gravity nyo sa pera? And we were lucky na parang nag-commit talaga kami. Okay, itong Investa, hindi natin to cash cow. Gagawin nating project to na ito yung mag-i-influence sa maraming mga Pilipino hanggang mag-grow. Tapos bahala na. Kung may reward tayo makuha, kung maging successful, then okay, long-term benefit na yun. Pero dapat sa first few years, full dedication tayo dito. So, that's one. Kasi maraming co-founder struggles kapag mga agawan sa pera, revenue ng company, yung isa ka-cash out, mga ganyan. Dun pa lang, magkakawatakan na kayo. And then next is, you have to really be a good judge of character. So, kailangan makita mo yung tao kung sincero ba talaga to, kung in the easy times, in the successful times, you will have people come to you. That's normal. But then you have to assess this character kung itong mga tao na to, will they stick with you kahit sa tough times. So I think those are some of the considerations when looking for partners.
Okay. Now, having said that, you guys said you kind of sort of put together this one. So it wasn't envisioned originally as a business that would be making money. Because this is the way that I'm looking at it from my perspective. Kunyari, when I was starting off one of my earlier businesses, let's say, even Mercato, I mean, sometimes that isn't your cash cow. You want to support that business. So you do other businesses instead. Like, for example, I'm a host, right? So sometimes your hosting money subsidizes this money, but you've got to make sure that eventually your dream is that this business, when you subsidize it long enough, kikita na ng pera. What was your vision naman when you put up Investa? Because it's also very helpful for our people thinking about putting up businesses. Should they have a business that is, parang kumbaga, they diversify their income streams and put up muna a business that's making money or a steady cash flow. That's what I used to invest here. But with the dream that eventually this business will make money. What was your thinking about it when you were doing Investagrams?
Ayun, yung parang personal business naming mga co-founders is yung trading talaga namin, yung sarili naming investment sa stock market. So, yun, okay naman kami dun, which helped us to have the freedom of time and money. And then the way we visualize Investa, talaga siya, it's the answer to the problem na nararanasan ng Pilipinas. Yun yung pinaka core motivation namin dun. And then of course, if you look at it as a business or as a tech company, talagang may potential. So we acknowledge as well na if we do a great job at this and we really serve the Filipino their needs, then nandun rin yung mga potential rewards. Pero yun yung pinagkaiba. Hindi namin siya ginamit as the fuel to our lifestyle. Di namin siya ginamit na yun yung doon kami kukuha ng sweldo, ganyan. Yung commitment talaga namin is to commit to the mission and then make it big. Ganun namin siya tinignan. And if we succeed to that, then we will get rewards as well, like any other company that solves
Well,
great problems.
I see. So having said that, no, I mean the next concern I have over here is that
Mhm.
um, the site originally was if I understand correctly, and there's a lot of people commenting here right now, and I'm very happy. I'm going to read your comments later on, no. But the idea is that when you put on the site, it was really a site for people who want to gain skill sets or digital trading tool or trading competencies to be able to trade the stock market. So sort of like it's a kumbaga, the biggest analogy would be probably like it's your fantasy league, right? This is your fantasy
Yeah,
league
yeah.
for stocks. You practice
Mhm.
here, and then you can
Mhm.
apply it in real life when you go to the stock market.
Mhm.
So, having said that, what was supposed to be the initial business model to run that? Because diba, if you don't mind, the way I was looking at it, kanina was that you were using your money from trading, putting the extra over here, and you're
Mhm.
teaching people how to trade. But where does the sustainability, I guess, for the original site come about?
Yeah. So the sustainability came that so 90% of our features are free. But then it's a standard na nauso na yung premium, 'di ba? Freemium or premium.
Mhm.
So if people want to avail yung mga advanced tools, advanced education, they have to pay a certain fee. So ayun, we came up with that model na okay, if you want to have that extra advantage in your investing, you want to gain access to extra learning, then you could avail of our Investa Prime. Yun yung subscription model na ginawa namin.
So basically, the subscription model was what was subsidizing the business, or basically that was carrying the business alone. The the
Not
uh,
not really
the
alone.
subscription model.
Not really alone. So we also have yung mga events namin. So there's a ticket price to that. So nakakatulong siya. So yan, nakakatulong rin sa revenues namin, nakakatulong para ma-sustain yung employees ni Investa. So those two yung main nung wala pang mga investments.
Okay. So having said that, so you started off with this platform. It carried. When was the business formulated? When was it born?
Uh, we started 2014, 15, pero yung incorporation mga 16 na yan. So more or less we're 5+ years, 6 years mahigit na.
So for the 16, 17 years, the idea was that you would,
6 years.
sorry, 16, 17, 18, 19. It was
Oh,
really based on partly from the subscription on Investa Prime and partly on the events and seminars that you were doing. This was the model for you to sustain Investa. Is that correct?
yes, yes. And then talaga parang tipid. And sacrifice din yung mga teammates namin, naintindihan nila yung long-term mission ng Investa. So sacrifice lahat from the co-founding team to our other teammates. Lahat yun sacrifice. And then we became extra creative because limitado yung resources. Yun, that's what sustained us.
Yeah. So having said that, no, I mean, it's good to I mean, I understand the value of sacrifice, and we do that for all the businesses. But what were
Yep.
they eventually sacrificing for? What was the? I mean, what was the end game technically? So I would sacrifice to do this one for the stock market and create this app that helps people digitally trade to practice their skill set for trading. What were you waiting to do? Was it eventually to develop to becoming a stock market brokerage? Was that the eventual goal for you to say that that's the longer term goal that we want for Investa?
Yes. So yung inaantabayanan namin and ng karamihan is to launch our own stock trading platform. So Investa Trade. So yan, on the pipeline na yan. Actually 99% tapos na yung development niyan eh. So tignan na lang natin. So hopefully, ayun, yun yung inaantay ng karamihan. And of course, if we become that, mas masusustain na yung company, mas mag-grow din, and then we'll be able to hire more people and take care of our current team. Those that worked with us from day one.
Wow. Having said that, JC, I mean, I understand what you go through as well. From my own perspective as an entrepreneur, sometimes what you expect doesn't materialize at the timing that you want or the
Yeah.
way that you want it. And right now you're still undergoing that process, but then you found a solution for it, which is also very creative. And like I said, it's like ways, right? Many different directions. What
Mm.
have you picked up from what have been your learning so far from all these different things that you I'm sure, parang gas na kung sasabihin ko resilience, yung grit, but what have you seen? Parang okay, I mean, after all this one, you know what? Buti na nangyari to. I learned something from this one. What would you
Mm.
like to share with people? Oo.
Yeah, so one of the main lessons is yung first tama, yun yung gasgas na, yung if something is important to you, you will not give up on it regardless of the odds. Yung sabi ni Elon Musk yata. So, tumatak sa akin yun kasi there are tons of challenging moments sa Investa na parang feel ko, shit, ang laking roadblock nito, di ko na alam paano ko ililid tong company, parang baka hindi na ako karapat dapat dito. So, there were times na naiisip ko yan yung parang what if I stopped already, or what if I gave way to what if I quit, ganun. Pero I was looking back, parang tinireflect ko yung buhay ko. I'd rather not do anything else than this. Parang ito na talaga yung path ko. I would regret it kapag 80 years old na ako tapos sinukuan ko tong bagay na to. I'd rather fail on it. So, yun yung nag-hold sa akin na shit, yung mga teammates ko nandito from day one, naniwala, yung mga co-founders ko naghirap na dito. Ang layo na ng narating, hindi mo pwedeng masukuan. So isa yon yung grit. And then yung mentality lang siguro na there is always a way. So kung may isang bagay, sasabihin ng karamihan imposible, you will have to always find the way. Yun yung pivot or yun yung innovation, dun lumalabas. So the more obstacles there are, kahit gaano pa karaming harang yan, pero kung yung mentality mo, there is always a way, hahanap ka nang hahanap ng paraan. So, ganun yung team namin. Okay, mahirap to. Anong pwede gawin dito? Anong next nating step? So, ganun lang. And constantly thinking of that, we formulated our plans for the future and the current now.
Wow. I want to go back a bit to the comments right now because they're very informative and they're very insightful. From John Go. John Go here
Mm.
said, JC taught me how beautiful trading is now trading the US market. Hopefully, you'll have specific programs right now for trading in the
Mm.
US market. JC, I mean, not that we're going to talk about trading the US market, but then is it possible for you to explain to us, you understand the beauty of trading and what makes it so great? Like for me, I love talking about entrepreneurship and
Yeah,
why
yeah.
it really sparks my passion. What about trading makes it such a beauty that how are you able to communicate the beauty and the passion for trading in Investa? What have you been doing that people don't get to see? What share with us? What makes it so? Why are you so passionate about it that you're willing to forego
Mm.
forego a salary here to teach people about trading?
Yeah, siguro yung what got me hooked sa trading is hindi siya nagdi-discriminate. 'Di ba yung usual careers natin, Lasal, Ateneo, UP, UST, may mga top 4 schools, dapat honor ka, dapat ganyan. I didn't come from that I was an outcast on that. Yung program namin sa college is corporate management. 70% honor doon. Ako yung 30% na medyo sakto lang. Tapos nafi-feel ko talaga yun na shit, itong career ladder puro papugian yan, kailangan perpekto ka. Yung iniba sa stock market, it welcomes everyone. It's the easiest way to get in. It's the it's the hardest easy way to get rich. So yung sinasabi niya doon, madali makapasok, pero dito mo malalaman na lahat kayo skills yung labanan. Hindi siya sa diploma, hindi siya sa kung sino connections mo. Pagpasok mo sa stock market, a-analyze mo yung laro. Anong mga kumpanya yung may mga potential earnings, projects? Anong magaganda yung mga galawan sa charts? Paano ka didiskarte? Ilang libo lalagay mo dito? Paano naman kung nagkamali ka? Paano mo didepensahan sarili mo? Paano kung tama ka? Paano mo i-make sure masakyan mo yung buong trend? So it's just like a big game na if you are deserving, if you put in the practice, the diligence to research, the curiosity to love the craft, to keep getting better. And lastly, unlike yung mga traditional careers na based on perfection, the trading or the investing, the stock market, it rewards being humble. So kapag the faster you admit, para siyang same sa entrepreneurship, I'm sure you will relate to this. The faster you admit your mistake, the faster you will able to correct that
Yeah.
mistake. So pag mali yung investment mo, may tinatawag na cut loss. So i-reallocate mo ngayon yung investment mo, yung oras mo as a trader, as an entrepreneur, and then you keep on refining your strat until you find the right trades. And then if you do the right process, tama yung strategy mo, you get rich. So doon siya, ang ganda nung ano, para sa akin napakaganda and challenging and ang laking tulong sa ano, personal humility, personal reflection, getting to know yourself, being honest with yourself. Kasi yung market, kapag mayabang ka, kunyari, yung mentality ng mga genius, iisipin nila, hindi ako magkakamali dito. Whatever I do, sobrang talino ko, ni-research ko to. Sige, lalagay ako 10 million. Pero kung sobrang ganun yung mentality mo na may godlike syndrome ka, tapos biglang may unseen circumstance, di ba? It happens in
Mm.
trading, in business. May biglang may sakuna, biglang sumabog yung planta, ganyan, may economic crash. Eh, kung na-stuck ka doon na, hindi ako magkakamali, wala na. Masa-stuck ka doon sa downtrend, masasakyan mo yung stock hanggang mamatay siya, pabagsak. So doon pumapasok yung humility. Anything you do, kahit na gaano ka effort, gaano ka katagal sa larangan, there will always be a probability of mistake. And the best traders, entrepreneurs, they know how to react to that mistakes, acknowledge the mistake, tas move on agad sa next opportunity. So ayun, ang ganda nung principle na naituro sa akin nun.
I love that. Yung pinaka-latest comment ni Lani Lenny, sabi niya, legit Miss Market doesn't care who you are. The stock market doesn't care who you are. It just cares
Yeah.
about the decisions that you make over here. I love what she had to say. And she had an
Yeah.
earlier comment. I love, Lani, thanks so much for all the comments you're putting here. Sabi niya, in 735, ibang klase is my model of passion for excellence. Siya yung klase na ilo-look up mo kung meron kang gustong marating. Very open siya sa lahat ng pinagdadaanan niya para ma-push through ang Investa. Kaya kung minsan pinaghihinaan ko, follow mo lang siya, mabubuhayan ka uli ng loob sa pagiging determinado niya. I love it. And you know, I read a really great story that you actually had over there, JC. You know, you were sharing one thing, and I said it earlier on that I know that you were looking at, you know, one of the investments that you said for somebody that somebody wanted to make in the company, but you said no because the values weren't the same. Maybe you can share the story. I mean, it was a nameless, it went nameless, but you were a bit disheartened, but at the same time, you pursige ka pa rin, di ba?
Yeah. Actually, numerous scenarios to eh. Parang being in the stock market, marami nang lumalapit sa amin na ano na shady characters ganyan. So why? Kasi being the biggest non-brokerage stock market platform, malaki yung influence nun. So, madaling gamitin pang hype ng stock, pang manipulate ganyan. Ang dali gamitin nung reach na yun eh para sa mga masasamang agenda. So may mga ganun. So ang ano lang namin, ang principle lang namin doon is to really look at the person. Kinikilala namin yung partner, yung investor bago kami makipag-work sa kanila. And just sticking to our principles, we've avoided and declined mga ganitong mga offers sa amin in the past.
Wow, this takes a lot of integrity on your part, and I'm
Yes.
very thankful that there are people out there like you that see that. Especially kudos as well to your partners who I've had the chance to also speak with and work with over here. JC, moving on, no, we've talked a lot about where you brought Investa here right now, and as you can see now, I often describe things as an ecosystem. I mean, what you're doing, technically, you were part of the ecosystem of the stock market, especially when you started off Investagrams. You weren't technically involved in the market, but you were advising people on how to invest in the market, and they could practice on Investagrams before actually going to trade in real life. So that means that there's opportunities that abound in that stock market ecosystem, or even you can see other businesses as a result of the stock market. You can see businesses which are flourishing. So having said that, and having seen what's been happening in the new normal, what are the opportunities that you're seeing in the stock market ecosystem? And in maybe even bigger, what are the economic opportunities that you were seeing emerging in the country as a result of the new normal when you look at the stock market?
Yeah, so stock market mainly talaga eh. Parang hanggang ngayon nga 1% pa rin yung 1+% pa rin yung participants natin. So the opportunity talaga doon is to digitalize and then to make it accessible even to the regular Filipinos. Ako personally, ever since 2018, 2017, yung pangarap ko is may mangingisda na nakaka-invest through Investa. Yan yung gusto naming marating. So yun yung future na it goes to the same principle na instead of the big boys getting rich, you wanna equalize the opportunities. Ganun yung gusto namin magawa. And that's where the opportunity for us will be. We'll continue to work on our platform, the investments available in our ecosystem, and then yung trading platform namin hopefully dumating na rin. So we're continue to double down on that.
Fantastic. And now, what do you see also? What are the? I mean, now looking at the stocks, what are the opportunities naman that you're seeing in terms of the business opportunities emerging when you look at the stock market right now? In terms of, are there economic opportunities or specific businesses that might be ideal right now for people to take a look at because they are not, they're flying under the radar or they're just about to peak.
Ah, well, usually pre-election, may rally yan. So, kunyari ngayon, yung market natin, yung PSE, nasa 7,400. Kung may positive sentiment about the future of Philippines, yung parang election spending ganyan. So usually may pump may trend ng konti yan sa market. So pwedeng doon may opportunity tayo sa as a whole. But then also looking at companies today in the Philippines, marami nang nagre-reopen, 'di ba? If you go out, medyo normal na yung BGC, dami ng tao, may mga bata na. So the stocks that went into a solid downtrend, marami diyan nagsi-stabilize na. So you can find opportunities there as well. Yung mga reopening plays.
Reopening place nila. Okay, fantastic. And here's another question I want to ask you. And as I start to close off, I want to go through the comments because a lot of people commenting over here, and it'd be fantastic for me to address some of them. But the other one is this one. JC, if you had, because I know that Investa takes a lot of, mind space and of course, sweat equity as you continue to do this one. But if you had the time and the resources and the bandwidth to do another business opportunity that you saw out there, what business opportunity would you be pursuing right now?
Sige. Actually, ang dami kong naiisip eh. Pero tama ka sir na sobrang life commitment yung startup lalo na kung i-grow mo talaga. So hindi ako makaalis hindi ako makagawa ng marami kailangan ng focus. So ito papamigay ko na lang yung mga idea.
Sure. Take down notes. Take down notes. Okay, sige.
Kung wala ako sa stocks, first agriculture. Parang ang laki nung middleman problem. Yung mga farmers, 'di ba? Ang daming viral posts. Tinatapon na po namin yung mga palay namin, walang bumibili. So that's a big problem. May mga nagtatry na mag-solve pero wala pang nakakagawa ng fully digital plus operations na immersed na na-combine niya yung pag-solve ng problem na yun. So dalawa yun eh. Hindi ka pwedeng digital lang. Kailangan may hands-on ka dun sa mga farmers kasi totoong trade yan eh. So isa yun. Find ways to solve agriculture to help the farmers. Kahit na tulungan natin ma-export nila sa mga iba-ibang bansa kasi sobrang underappreciated ng farmers pero ang daming opportunity dun, 'di ba? Sa Japan sobrang taas ng tingin nila sa farming. So besides agriculture, next would be edtech, yung educational space. Yung kahit na galing ako sa Lasal. And alam ko Sir RJ, Lasal ka rin, 'di ba?
Animo.
Yun, animo. So, pero kahit na pinagpala ako na galing ako doon, gusto ko buwagin yung idea na may top 3, top 4 schools. So the reason behind not to be a party pooper, pero nakikita ko kasi na opportunity sa Philippines yun and pain point na kaya kawawa yung mga anak ng mga mangingisda, mga farmer kasi mahal yung mga quality na na schools, hindi mo ma-access sa probinsya. Wala kang pag-asa makatungtong dun sa reputable school para maitaas sarili mo, 'di ba? So sobrang mahirap yung path. Ang isang sagot ko dun is digital na ngayon. We could easily create a digital school that would balance the costs yet yung quality sobrang taas. So kung magkaroon akong extra oras at pera, gagawin ko 'yun eh. Pero kahit sinong nandito, gawin niyo rin, tapos tutulong na lang ako next time. Basta basically ayoko yung mentality na sinasabi ng tao na nasa probinsya kasi ako kaya walang opportunity. Nasa Manila lang yung opportunity, nasa ibang bansa lang. Hindi nila nare-realize na ang daming resources ng Pilipinas kung talagang pinag-isipan lang natin. And I wanna answer to that. Gusto kong i-equalize yung opportunity. So hopefully ito yung mga some projects na nakikita ko and kung sino man na-inspire dito, please find solutions.
Exactly. Kaya sinasabi ng tao dito, Mark Rohan gamitin. Boss JC is muscles daw. Boss JC is. Yeah. Exactly. That's the same way that I feel when I talk to JC. And over here, JC, I know we've covered this a lot now, but from Cyril Bulado saying over here, Boss JC, what would be your greatest advice for someone who would like to follow or are inspired with your path? And I know we all have different paths, and you've been sharing with us your entrepreneurial advice. But I guess maybe what have you found significant in your journey that might have been different, or maybe what books have you read? What mentors have really struck you, or what was there one person or an incident that changed your life and said, okay, I'm going to do this one because it's almost bordering on what I would call altruism or nation building that
Mm,
you've been
mm,
doing,
mm.
despite the fact that I mean that your choice could have been straight out, I'll stay in the stock market. I'll make money
Mm.
there. No need to,
Yes.
no need to do this one, diba? But
Oh.
despite this one, you're doing this one. I mean, that takes a lot. So what put you on that path? And what mentors, what books, what incidents put you on that path?
Yes. So una, you need to really parang reflect what motivates or drives you as a person. So, yung Japanese concept ng ikigai, yung
Mm-hmm.
ikigai yung parang finding something you're good at, finding something na pwede mong pagkakitaan to take care of yourself and find something na meaningful para sa mundo. Yun yung finalo kong principle. Kaya balance yung approach ko. Hindi siya para sa sarili ko lang. Binabalance ko na dapat may saysay ito sa ibang tao. And then something na nag-resonate sa skills ko. I started out na mahilig sa gaming, mahilig mag-analyze, and then natuto mag-trading. And then nagamit ko yun para dito sa business venture ko. So you have to first look at ano bang good, saan ka magaling, ano yung mga skills na natural may affinity ka. So that's one. And then on the altruism side naman, dalawa kasing negosyo yan eh. Merong mga negosyo na ito yung mga tatayo ka ng showmake stand tapos kikita ka na ng 30,000 a month. Walang masama doon. 'Di ba? Yun yung una kong vision eh na magtayo ako 5 showmayan, meron na akong 300K a month. Eh di okay na. Ganun lang yung business ko. Sinusulat ko talaga yun dati. Pero nung na-realize ko na gusto mo pa bang magsakripisyo para sa mga bagay na mas mabigat sa mundo, yung mga purposeful stuff. Because it's okay na we can do it as a lifestyle, yung chill ka lang, alagaan mo sarili mo, pamilya mo. And it's another thing if you're really scaling something na malaki tapos mahirap yung journey sobra. Kung hindi ka connected sa purpose mo, kunyari gusto mo lang gawin yung negosyo mo, gusto ko gumawa na parang Investagrams para maka-cash out din ako. Kung ganun lang yung mentality, you will quit or you will be stopped easily. In a big scale business, talagang dapat mahal mo yung mission, yung purpose na yun. And para sa akin, dun magkakaalaman kung sino yung mananaig sa huli kasi sobrang pag entrepreneur ka, alam ni Sir RJ to, pag entrepreneur ka, araw-araw may challenges, minuto-minuto.
Tell me
So
about it.
yung Yeah, 'di ba? So, naano nga ako, I'm impressed by Sir RJ kasi very very fit, very wellness yung aura ni Sir RJ. So, ang ganda nung balancing act ni Sir RJ dito, paano niya nababalance yung health niya. So, dapat alam mo, parang importante ba sa'yo yung mission or okay ka na sa sarili mo lang. So, and then that's how you define your scale. That's how your scale kung ano man yung ma-achieve mo. Kung mas malakas yung purpose mo, mas mataas yung energy and grit and sacrifice na magagawa mo.
Got that. And having said that, really thankful. A lot more comments coming in. I wish I could go through all of them, no? But then I just want to close with this one. I'm sure maraming. I'm thankful for everybody listening right now. Big fans of Ibang Klase and those people listening to Investa and Investagrams. For the first timers who want to start off, don't know much about the stock market, want to get involved. What do they do to start off, JC? And how do they make Investagrams part of their start of their career in investing in the stock market?
Yeah, so for those who are new to the world of investing in the stock market, just go to investagrams.com/university or search nyo lang sa Google or YouTube, Investa University. So meron na kaming nilatag na course dyan from beginners to advanced. Kompleto, it's more than 30 hours of educational content for free. So nilaunch namin siya nung pandemic as our help sa mga kababayan. So nandun na yung paano ba gumagana yung stock market, ano yung mga iba-ibang strategy dito, paano mo alagaan yung pera mo, yung risk mo, and everything else, yung mga mas advanced na topic. So, libre lang yan. Investa University. Search nyo lang.
Fantastic. Investa University. And then, if they are interested also to invest in the mutual fund that is being managed through Investa. Again, where can they go? Can we just flash it on the screen, Clark? One more time, can you flash on the screen where they can go?
Yes, investagrams.com/investa. So pre-register lang kayo dyan. We're gonna start to give out public access in the next few weeks. So yan, antabayanan nyo na lang. Mag-a-announce tayo.
Okay, that's www.investagrams.com/investa. I'd like to close tonight's session with a really great comment from Bulo Sehi. He says, Sir JC Bisnar, your long-term vision is admirable and brings hope to the Filipinos and to the Philippines. Your disciplined, pleasant personality, and positive can-do attitude is reflective in the way all Investa team members interact with everyone. Galing. Galing talaga. Again, thanks so much, JC, for coming here on the show and inspiring many Filipino, hopefully stock market entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs per se have learned from your own life lessons that, it's not just about the business of doing business, but the business of doing business for a better tomorrow for everybody.
Yeah.
And the importance of the inclusivity of doing business here in the Philippines. Again, if you guys learned a lot from the RJ Ledesma podcast, I invite you to please subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, Google, or Apple. You learn a lot from all the different people that I've guested here on the show, just like you learned so much from JC. Again, this is RJ Ledesma. I will see you on the next RJ Ledesma podcast this coming Thursday. Again, thanks so much, guys. We will see you on Thursday. Maraming salamat. Thanks, JC.
Thank you, Sir RJ.